Window washers of Reddit. What is the most memorable thing you have seen while on the job? Good friend is a window washer for downtown office towers. They get notice of the day the windows are being washed, yet he says it's shocking how many people are freaked out by them being outside their window. Weirdly so, they came across a dude watching pee on his office computer. When he noticed the window washers, he just gave them a big thumbs up and kept watching. In my office at least, the window washers probably tell the building administration, but my company never passes that info on to us. So we really do get freaked out surprised when we look over and there's a window washer there. Not my story but my brother's. A very famous female comedian in my country had a house in our area, and in her bedroom above the bed was a life-size paint me like one of your French girls oil painting of her stalkers. He nearly fell off the ladder in surprise and she was stood at the bottom wetting herself laughing cause she knew what was coming. Housekeeper checking in. This one lady liked to feed birds, like 50 pounds every 2 weeks. No screens, sills caked in filth, and the windows themselves had been neglected over time. They were Anderson windows so you could pull them in from the inside. Well, the tension string broke and I'm literally holding the window by a string and this bird straight up flies into my face. I was shocked. The bird was shocked. I screamed. I like to imagine the bird did too. Bird flew away and I got the window locked back in place and called maintenance. This was on the 2nd floor too. Causally screams at bird. I do some side work as a landscaper for an elderly couple in our local polo club. I was under the impression that the owners were not home at the time, but I was wrong. I was washing windows this particular morning and I came around to the restroom window and gotten a perfect view of this older couple in the shower together. The window looked out on a private fenced-in patio, so that's why it wasn't fogged glass. The window by the toilet is the same way. Bad design in my opinion. I've never moved faster in my life than I did catapulting myself backwards out of view of this naked couple. I don't believe they saw me because the next time we ran into each other, everything seemed normal from their end. Haha. I reckon they were a little bit preoccupied. A tornado. We'd had little warning before we saw it about 1 kilometer away. It didn't appear to be moving side to side much, which indicates that it's coming towards you. We winched down about 4 floors, jumped onto a fire escape and got inside the building. It rode out the storm inside and then went home. It didn't appear to be moving side to side much, which indicates that it's coming towards you. Well crap. Till. I used to window clean hotels, which meant going room to room with a master key to let myself in. I've seen quite a few dildos and vibrators being proudly displayed on bedside tables, but the one situation that stuck with me the longest was just walking down the corridor and hearing 2 middle-aged people going at it in one of the rooms. It was a Georgian hotel in the Cotswolds, so very HOI. Their screams, 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 their screams. That couple had no idea how intimately they shared their experience with us. Give it to her good. Come on, let her have it. Not a window washer, but I used to install and repair windows. One afternoon we'd gone out to a job where some butthole neighborhood kids had smashed several back windows of a nice elderly couple's place. We worked our way from top. First 2 windows belonged to an ensuite bathroom, while the third was the bedroom to which the ensuite was attached. The master. My job was to clear any remaining glass from the area so the other bloke could put the new panel in. Anyway, I noticed a small urn on the desk by the window, with the name Triple Scoop engraved upon it, along with 2 dates, about 4 years apart. Probably a pet. Hopefully a pet, I'd thought. Didn't think about it for more than a minute, then went back to work. We finished the upstairs windows and went down to work on the 2 in the kitchen. Holy crap, there was a wall with 5 long shelves, each one holding several urns similar to Triple Scoop upstairs. Turns out the elderly couple used to breed and race greyhounds and the urns contained the remains of their deceased racers. Triple Scoop was their first champ. I'm glad it was a pet. Not a window washer, but I live in a 2-story building so we don't really bother with real curtains in the bathroom. We only have an extremely thin, see-through white fabric over the window. The doors in the shower are glass. So, On this fateful day, I was taking a shower and my mom had unfortunately neglected to inform me that our gutter was getting repaired that day. So you can imagine my surprise when, while I was just minding my bussiness, getting soaked up in the shower, naked as the day I was born, all of a sudden I see the figure of a man ascending into the frame of my window. I am not proud to say I completely panicked and just dropped to the floor. So, dripping wet and covered in soap, I made my way, crawling over the bathroom floor to open the door. I escaped. The worst part is that at that point the guy was probably so high up that he saw everything. The most horrifying moment of my life, but it does make for a good story today. Assert dominance by remaining in shower and singing loudly. Window cleaner for over 12 years now. I've seen horrible things. Also hilarious things. Once helped catch a pair of yobs who were on the run from the police. Was just minding my own business cleaning a customer's windows when the fence panels behind us in the garden exploded. Like it started raining splintered wood and dirt. Some scum had nicked a car and cornered way too fast. They shot the corner, jumped the curb and obliterated the garden and the nicely parked up BMW in the drive. Both knobheads ran immediately and hopped the gardens, and in seconds out of nowhere there's a helicopter circling and K9 units on them both. They were flat face down on the pavement in a matter of moments. Big burly coppers pinning them down. Seen plenty of big double-ended dildos. Strap 1 etc left out on the beds of undiscerning customers. Lots of naked old dudes and people who were in the shower not knowing we were there only to scream. It's a good laugh as a job really. Folk are always alright and it's nice to have a cup on the job and a biscuit. I can tell if you're being overly British on purpose and it's disturbing. Did a job in one of the wealthiest area in Texas. I had uppers which is longer, especially with a ladder. My co-workers were inside for maybe 10-15 minutes. As I'm about to go inside, both of them come outside, visibly upset. One of my co-worker went in the bathroom, stepped in a puddle and got his socks wet, and just continued to clean the windows. The other one went behind him and stepped in the puddle as well, and he looked down and sees there's pee everywhere. They both stepped in pee. The owners had a young toddler, and the entire house was in filth. Food everywhere. Kids' toys everywhere. They basically let the kid do whatever he wants with no supervision. The mother was very trashy. Couldn't believe this crap in a $300 K+ house. Not a window washer, but I was the victim. It's a Saturday morning and I wanted to have a nice lie-in. My headboard for my bed is up against the window, so I sleep facing away from the window and have to turn around to see what is outside to open the curtains. On this fateful day, I woke up to some sound, but it wasn't alarming, so I just carried on as usual. Stretched, then turned around to open my curtains. Then I see his face. The window cleaner clearly didn't expect me to open the curtains and got a little scared. I too didn't expect to see someone's face looking back at me through the window. Early on a Saturday morning, he saw me almost fall off my bed in sheer terror. Paying him at the door when he was done was funny. We both laughed and pretended it didn't happen. I'm sure I've seen this in a cartoon somewhere. Probably with the window cleaner's ladder slowly tilting away from the wall as the cleaner desperately grabs hold of the window frame with his fingertips. Not a window washer myself. Just one very unlucky victim. So the day started off as a lovely Saturday morning in the midst of summer. Sun beaming in from all windows. Music blasting and in such a great mood. To my sweet surprise, I was home alone. Thought it was the perfect time to walk around in just my underwear. I'd be an absolute fool to waste this fine opportunity. There I am, dancing around in what I can only explain as a very small article of clothing. I went downstairs to start my morning off with a nice coffee and some breakfast. I walk into my kitchen and to my horror, I see one of the two window washers that regularly come to my house, standing directly in front of me behind the glass garden door, staring at me with a jaw-dropped and embarrassed expression on his face. I immediately went red in the face and tried to run back upstairs as fast I could, although he still caught sight of my backside as well. The most awkward part of it all was that I had to pay him before he left, and we had the most awkward encounter than ever before. While he just smiled, giggled and asked me how my day was going. I still have to see him every once in a while. Not window washing, but as a kid I had a paper route, and on collecting $$ day I knocked and looked through the screen door to see what appeared to 11 years old me to be Mrs. Jones inflating Mr. Jones by his valve stem in the middle of the living room. That was a good summer. Alright, I'm ascending off this mortal coil. It's been real. Not a window washer, but I saw a window washer dressed up like Batman while cleaning the windows of the cancer ward in the hospital. Grandmother had cancer. The child cancer center was through a different door on the same hall as the elderly, 60 plus, cancer center. I was 9 at the time and thought it was awesome. Cheered me up for a while. Window washer was a top class bro. Out of the office. One of my first jobs, I worked as a window cleaner in a little town in England. For a year maybe. Saw some sights. Once saw an old lady getting changed. Nearly jumped off the ladder in fear but luckily didn't see anything. Was in charge of collecting the money though and it was real awkward. One time an old man sat in his armchair and watched me intently with a deadpan expression as I cleaned his living room windows. 3 of them. I was pretending I couldn't see him, but I could. Boss son also worked with us and literally all dogs hate him, no idea why. Watched maybe 15 dogs chase this dude over the year. One bit his ass cheek so hard he had to get stitches lol. Had to clean a 4-story building on a hill and boss used to prop the ladder up with 2 bricks under one leg. Super unsafe, while I shook my way up the ladder. All the window ledges were also covered in rusty nails to stop pigeons from landing so I'd be like 40 foot in the air on an unstable ladder, shaking. Trying to clean a window behind 100 giant rusty nails. Terrifying. My favorite story, I was cleaning away and looking at this guy's room and noticed a skateboard. I'm also a skater and thought, oh dang, I recognize that deck. It belonged to a guy I'd met like twice at the local park. The next day I was at the skate park and walked over to him. Bear in mind we've exchanged like 8 words before this. I sat next to him and kept a complete stone expression and said, hey, you look like the kind of guy who'd have black bed sheets. He was like double sheets, 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 he was like double. Fast forward 11 years and he's currently my oldest and closest friend. Thank you, I'd forgotten that last story. One guy was on his computer wearing complete death metal attire, spiked hair, full body leather and heavy, and I mean heavy mascara eyeliner. He was facing the window and in turn me. He locked eyes with me the entire time I was doing my job. He looked like he was going to murder me. That's when I saw what he was watching on his computer. My Little Pony. That's when his demeanor changed. He realized what I saw and smiled from ear to ear. I wasn't a window washer at the time, although I have been a window washer before, but at this moment I was just a gardener trimming bushes around the university. One day we were trimming some bushes and through an egress window there was this guy watching hardcore Asian porno in one of the administrative buildings. His office door was wide open and he wasn't jerking it or anything but was just sitting there upright watching it with a very serious deadpan expression on his face. Research obviously, you know, for science. This was 25 years ago. Cleaning 2nd floor windows in a hospital from ladders. I arrived at a window to see a lady giving birth. The child was probably half in and half out is as best as I can describe it. The people in the room were so concentrated on what they were doing they didn't notice me, so I made a hasty descent. A couple of windows further down, same floor, I see a man pacing up and down with his hands behind his back. Dark hair, tidy mustache. Around 30, will never forget his face. No idea why he wasn't in with his partner, but I had no doubt this was the father. Skip down a few windows, 3 mins per window including moving the ladder so not that long, and I arrive at a window to see the lady being wheeled in on a wheelchair with the baby in her arms, the other mothers, maternity ward, clapping, and the father walking behind with a huge beaming smile. It felt like it was out of a movie with a camera following the story. Quite unforgettable. To be fair, that would be a pretty funny short movie, just following a window cleaner as he moves around the hospital and sees all of these scenes unfolding. I was the one being watched, was at my new, empty condo which had pillars. My guy and I decided to meet there for some fun times. He decided to tie me between pillars, which was hot, until we noticed the window washer. Oh, I have a good one. When I was doing my PhD, one of the other students had to wash windows at the weekend to make ends meet. Anyway, he was washing a block of flats one day. He didn't know this, but the block was home to a female lecturer in the same department as us. He washes the window of her bedroom and she walks in completely naked. He stares in shock. She grabs a towel and it's over. The next day she files a harassment complaint about him because she assumed he was pretending to be a window cleaner to see her naked. Luckily his employer could vouch for him and the matter was dropped. Very awkward. I feel like there could have been some steps taken to verify his job before filing a harassment complaint, lol. Either way, that professional relationship will never be the same. I did high-rise window cleaning for better part of a year. Hotels were the most entertaining. Building management would issue a notice to guests that we'll be doing our thing, but it didn't seem to have much effect on some. I've seen numerous people having sex. One girl getting spit roasted, another had a train going on. More of the nudist exhibitionist types than you can shake a squeegee at. They weren't too bad if they were south of geriatric and less than 100 kilograms. Aftermaths of hellish parties where it looks like someone put a bomb in the middle of the room, piled people on top and then set it off, casting ragdolled bodies everywhere. A guy watching TV in a Barney the dinosaur costume. Then there are the ones that just stare at you, unblinking. Fucking creepy. Had a few people call security on us saying we're terrorists. Kind of understandable in some respects as this was in Melbourne, Australia, and as many will know it gets fucking hot in Australia. So to protect ourselves from the ungodly heat we were basically dressed like Arabs with their lovely white flowing robes complete with headgear. But then again, what bloody terrorist strikes fear into the people by washing your fricking windows? Oh Salma been cleaning yeah windows mate. I rappel buildings in NYC as part of my job. It's a job that already draws attention but as a female even more so. However, while on rope it's quiet and you get to peer into the lives of others. Did a drop last Monday and I can 100% confirm that people do not wear pants while working remotely. The best thing I saw was a small girl playing with a giraffe toy right on the windowsill. Scared the crap out of me as her little face came into view like 3 inches from mine. She screamed and her mom came in. Her mom proceeded to tell her girls can have awesome jobs if they want them, and we took selfies together. Worst I've seen. Rappelling hospitals. Was not prepared for the sheer amount of suffering behind those windows. It was last summer. I was cleaning my dad's car with the help of my little brother. It was a bright sunny day and I began cleaning. After completing the outside cleaning of the car, windows, doors etc., I began to take off the carpet kind of stuff from inside the car to dust it off. Finally, when I was polishing the bits of the dashboard, I noticed something glimmering from within a crack on the dashboard. Holy crap. Guess what? It was my mom's wedding ring which she lost a year ago. It was in the cupboard in a small narrow crack. I wonder how it must have gotten there, but I remember TGE happiness on my mom's face when she found out about it. If you are married, you probably know how much a wedding ring is worth. Not in terms of money but its value and memories. I gave it to my dad and told him to put it on my mom's finger. OMG. It was so wholesome to see. They even took us to malls that day and bought me and my brother a hoodie. Just wanted to get this out and I found a perfect opportunity. I clean commercial ground level windows. One time when I was in the groove I noticed a highly inebriated lady staggering around and yelling at people she went by. Anywho, I went to grab my water bottle and as I took a nice swig I noticed the inebriated lady lean against a window, put her hands down her pants, and slap a well-used panty liner against my clean window about 20 feet away. I spat out my water all over the windows I just cleaned and had to peel off this used panty liner. I'm not the bad type. It's natural and such. I just couldn't believe someone would do that. Not a window washer but the victim here. At my parents' house the street lights would turn off just before 12 and there was a street light outside my window, so I would always leave my curtains open as it was nice to wake up the sun rising. There were multiple times where I remember hearing the ladder and being woken up running across the room naked to close the curtains. The worst time I was still in bed and I could hear the windows being cleaned, so I just lay there and pretended to be asleep. Now I live in a pretty small town and I was in the local pub, and guess who's there all pee up? My window cleaner. I apologized if he'd ever seen me, and he bought me a drink. So who's the real winner here? I'd call that a win-win. Eye candy for him and a drink for you. I'll give a story from the other side. When I was in college I lived alone in a studio my senior year, and the building I was in had an odd setup where 5 bathroom windows shared a tiny little space and all looked toward each other. Everyone else already had blinds, so I didn't bother getting any. One day I wander in stark nude brushing my teeth when I catch something out of the corner of my eye. I had no idea people washed those windows, and this poor guy was washing mine while I was there, Johnson in full display. The shot of adrenaline hit me, but I tried to play it cool and walk out like nothing happened. Sorry to that person though. I think I bought a shade after that. My opa was a window washer. He had some stories. Alright. He worked in Detroit. Back in the day. Post World War II. Back then, they didn't have those fancy lifts. What these guys did was 1. Go to the room on the high rise with windows. 2. Open a window. 3. Attach a belt to a hook on each side of the window in the outside of the building. 4. Climb out the window with all your stuff, including buckets hanging off of you, and lean away from the window, with a belt as your only method of not dying. 5. Close and wash the window with soapy water, which would inevitably cover the ledge your feet are on, while XX stories above the street. 6. Open the window and get back in. Regardless, there was the time he helped the police catch a mugger who was hiding. He had a real bird's eye view. There was the time he was able to unlock a room. He had the master key on a psych wing at a hospital where a patient had beaten and was getting ready to rape a nurse. The time he outsmarted the bosses when they set a trap for him when he was union president. Part of the deal he negotiated made it so that college was a financial option for their children. And there are a few others that I can't fully remember. But I'll tell you, his job wasn't a joke. I washed windows for a few years. There was this really beautiful, very slender girl who was the front desk person at an art gallery. I always secretly checked her out, but I don't flirt at work. One day she walked around the desk to take a letter out, and to my great surprise, she had an absolutely phenomenal butt. A few twists and my space turned later. We started dating. We've been together 13 years now, married for 7, and that butt still enchants me the same as it did that first time. Favorite thing I saw was we were doing the windows for an older man who had his granddaughter over, probably no older than 5. She got excited watching us, so the guy gave her a washcloth and she would try to mimic us cleaning while we did our work on the outside. That or the people that would come out with watermelon or water on extremely hot days. We rarely got a chance to stop, so once we ran out of water we were usually out for the day, which made people like this lifesavers. Or if I want to be petty, lightning, because by the end it was great to have an excuse to leave and give the manager something to chew on. Since about 1 stroke 2 through we realized we weren't coming out with minimum wage. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.